Welcome back to Crypto Wealthy channel, guys. In today's episode we have some very interesting analysis with the fundamentals to cover over here to see if the Bitcoin price may see the parabolic move soon or even later. And also we're going to go through few charts over here. We're going to cover BLX chart, we're going to cover normal chart to show you something very interesting, what could happen already tomorrow with the Bitcoin. And also we're going to go through some articles over here that we can cover to see if the Bitcoin really can catch parabolic move before 2021 or not. And also we have news, and we're going to cover VeChain and the Chainlink trade that we did and that of course went wrong and stopped us. And now let's begin. So very interesting stuff we need to cover. I think the video is going to be long, especially because of the elections in United States. We have some very interesting development and also analysis and fractal analysis to do over here, so make sure to stick all the way until the end of this video if you can. If not, I'm going to put in the timeline those cuts so you can skip to the parts that you would like to watch. Right now over here we have article that says Bitcoin price why 14k looks early similar to $700 during the 2016 election. So if we switch, we can go directly over here on the chart of the Bitcoin, and we're going to go on the Bitstamp because that's one of the longest one, right? And over here I already set this line, this vertical line over here, which is 7th November approximately. I'm not sure when elections were in the 2016, but I think it's somewhere around 9th of November or something like that. So if we zoom in a little bit over here, the thing that we can see is actually nothing. After the elections over here, few weeks actually over here, we saw no volatility in the Bitcoin price whatsoever. So if we switch on the volume just to see what happened, we saw nothing. So 2016 we saw the flat line of the volume, and only after the month or two we even had a crash over here to the 20 exponential weekly moving average, and after that we were surging towards $20,000 when that happened. So if we switch also on the daily chart and go a little bit back on that place, you can see that nothing specially occurred. So the volume was flat, even the RSI was into the, let's say, bullish zone. We didn't have none of those specific crashes like the Bitcoin faced in this year in the March, for example. So nothing special, and we maybe actually could expect also now nothing special when it comes to the volatility, because if we switch over here in the live version of the Bitcoin, we can see that we are even surging to the upside. And one of the things that we need to cover over here, we need to go through the article first. It says that the Bitcoin still can't break the $14,000 resistance, and they are showing over here the weekly chart. Now very interesting stuff is happening on the daily chart, mostly because on the weekly chart over here, you know, devil is hiding in the details. So if we switch on the daily chart over here, there is something very interesting to read from the charts. Only from the few of these candles I can tell you what could potentially happen, you know, with the big probability already tomorrow or after the close of this candle in 8 hours. So what we are seeing over here on the chart, we are seeing multiple resistance, multiple tests on the $14,000. Now how we know that? As you can see, if we switch one horizontal line, I need to show you something very interesting over here and put it on $14,100 exactly. We can see that that's the previous resistance over here. Now look at this. If we zoom in just a bit over here, I'm going to show you something that I already mentioned in the previous video. Over here we have this week, and 2 days ago and 3 days ago I told you if we don't break this week over here, this highest high that we made local, let's say, we are not going to see the higher prices, period, at least for a short period of time, right? And until we break that high. Now this high over here became very significant because, as we can see over here, we had a crash after that and then recovery with this big engulfing candle. Again, we've been stopped out, opened the position on this candle over here, and we are trading approximately somewhere around here, which is a, let's say, $13,900. Now this candle over here is very dangerous right now if it closes like it is over here. Why? This is, ladies and gentlemen, bearish hammer or in this case scenario, the name is hanging man, I think, if I'm not wrong, but I'm certainly not. So what this candle represents is small body, long wick to the downside, while on the upper side you have very small wick or not wick at all. This represents pretty much the hanging man, which is trend reversal candle pattern over here. It forms after the rally, and also the body needs to have at least 2 times long wick over here or more, and in this case we have 3 or even more. So this is very legit hanging man that we are seeing at. So already tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, observe the price and this candle. If in 8 hours we close on the hanging man over here, like on these prices over here, most probably observe tomorrow we may see the downside, or at least correction towards 20 exponential moving average, this yellow line over here, to see, you know, to see a correction, to let the bears take the profits. Now this is only short term, we may even break this high over here, but if you ask me, I'm not sure that we're going to do this today, because the candle that is forming right now is not bullish at all, at least not for the short period of time. Now when we cover the short period of candle over here, we can even see and argue that this is the bearish divergence which we discussed, and unfortunately it is going to play out together with this hanging man candle pattern over here. So be careful, please. Most probably we're going to see some sort of a correction, because we went overextended. We have the bearish divergence and we have hanging man, and this hanging man is going to end up most probably tomorrow with the leg down, with the next engulfing bearish candle. So this is the Bitcoin still can't break the $14,000 resistance. So this is the first thing that I mentioned over here, and we just cover it right over here. We have 2016 election, also didn't see much BTC volatility, which we covered also. And the next one is the short-term scenario for the Bitcoin price. As we can see over here, they predicted a drop towards $13,000 approximately, and after that, you know, break to the upside. We're going to see how this will play out, but this is very possible scenario, especially because I just show you trend reversal pattern that could occur already tomorrow, and should occur already tomorrow if we close this candle like we are seeing it over here, more or less, let's say like that. There are multiple factors why we should see correction, but you know, everything could happen. This technical analysis right now on short period of time, on the next few days or even week or maybe even 2, are showing us correction already maybe from tomorrow. So observe and observe. Now over here we have the last one, higher time frame scenario for the Bitcoin. They showed us over here breaking up $14,000, you know, after this drop that we just mentioned over here. We're going to consolidating somewhere around approximately over here $13,000, and after that we're coming back to hit actually the $14,000 and finally break it to the upside. Of course, everything is possible. And also one bearish thing that we need to mention is that the rally that you can see over here, the candles formations, their bodies and everything are showing us weakness in this trend. So already from this candle you can conclude that we could see potentially bearishness over here, because you have the wicks from the both of the sides. The engulfing candle is much smaller than the previous one, and as you can see over here, we opened this wick over here very weakly and without breaking up $14,000. Most probably rejection is the next one. Now over here one more chart, and we're going to cover also with our version over here. As I promised, Bitcoin sees record 100 days above 10K as one analyst eyes parabolic 2021. As we can see, they brought over here Bitcoin weekly moving average chart, 200 weekly simple moving average. We can even switch over here on the chart, you know, to switch on the weekly, and when you turn it on, you can see this green one. We can even exclude the other one, and as you can see, the green one represents the same chart as we are seeing over here. And yeah, we have very good bounces from this moving average, and as we can see, Bitcoin made 4 to 5 times retest on that moving average. And as we can see, the things that we can see over here on the charts, Bitcoin is very respecting this weekly moving average as a support. So it's very strong when it comes of the support. We were never trading below this moving average more than a few days. So as you can see over here, after the drop of the March this year, Bitcoin managed to close above this again. So this is how strong this moving average is when it comes to the Bitcoin. We never ever were below this moving average. God knows what could happen if we were trading few days or rejected as a resistance. God knows where the Bitcoin could go, but in this case scenario, this bounce made Bitcoin perfectly fine to go to the upside. Also over here, 2 retests, perfectly good thing, and over here 1 more, and over here 1 more. So far so good. Now when it comes to these charts over here, I need to bring one more chart, which is stock to flow model. And as we can see, stock to flow model is showing us that we should see parabolic move very soon, because in the previous jumps, after the halvings over here, we saw the parabolic move. Now what this chart represents, if you're new over here, if you don't know what this is the stock to flow model, or let's say stock to flow ratio between the Bitcoins that are in circulation, that are circulating on the exchanges between the wallets and stuff like that, against the Bitcoins that are getting produced. How hard is it to produce new Bitcoins, and whenever the halving hits the road, which is pretty much this angle over here that I'm showing you right now, then this stock to flow model, stock to flow chart, or those colors over here, dots, call them whatever you want, they are getting higher, which means that the stock to flow model is getting higher and higher. Scarcity of the Bitcoin is getting higher, like the gold, silver, and rest. What this line over here represents, this red line represents, is actually the average where the price should go because of that stock to flow model. On every 4 years we are getting halving, and after that miners are getting half reward, and the price should theoretically go to the upside. And these over here, those colors, are actually how the price acted, and the line is the average where the price should follow. And as we can see, we had some distinctions from the up to the downside, and over here right now we are good to go to the upside. We had distinctions over here, parabolic one, we had the drop below it, then we have parabolic above it, and so on and so on. And right now we have those red dots or whatever, which after should see a big parabolic move. So this is what we are expecting. Bitcoin could also go and surge much earlier than this line, as we saw over here, as we saw getting late over here, and so on and so on. So we will see how this will play out, but it seems like that we are on the verge of the breakout. Now the very interesting thing that I need to bring over here, or let's say ambitious by this chart over here, 28th of May 2021, the Bitcoin is predicted on around $64,000, or approximately 4th August 2021, $100,000 over here, more or less, actually 87, but that's it. So we're going to see if this stock to flow model could predict those prices. This is pretty excited because by now he predicted even more than it should, right? So we will see how this will develop in the long term, or let's say midterm, in the next 6 to 8 months. Now switching to the BLX chart, this is the chart when you switch the logarithmic chart, and then you can connect with the weekly chart, and daily is the minimum. Of course, the lower time frames cannot be functioning on this chart over here, and this also represents some of the stock to model, let's say how the price is acting in this channel. And we can see we had a pretty good respect in the previous years or so, and for now Bitcoin is following this tunnel more or less. We had some distinctions, maybe over here, maybe over here, and maybe over here in 2020 that we had that drop in March of month, which is pretty much a black swamp event. We're not going to comment that too much because it's more like a pathological drop. But as we can see, the Bitcoin is on pretty good path to the upside, and the next prediction on this tunnel over here, or let's say resistance, is the $83,000 more or less, or even we can say $100,000 if it takes more time, you know. So we will see how this will play out, because also we need to mention one very interesting thing over here. Whenever the Bitcoin went into the halving over here, you know, lately we had a good consolidation phase over here for a few months. After that we broke to the upside on a parabolic move, right? Also over here we had consolidation of, we can say, month or so, you know. After that we went into the parabolic move, and one of the reason for that is because on this halving, you know, this is the first halving over here, we didn't have much bitcoins in circulation, which means that the price was very easy to move to the upside or to the downside, you know, manipulation and everything. And right now we have a lot of bitcoins, we have a lot of money also, and whenever you have a lot of bitcoins in circulation, you need a much more money to move the price also. So right now, if we measure over here from this halving over here and to the first, you know, beginning to the move to the upside, let's say like that, is somewhere approximately over here. It took 259 days after that second halving to, you know, moon to the upside to $20,000. Now that's pretty much a lot, guys. So if we measure over here from the third halving that we had in the May, we can see 168 days, which pretty much give us 100 more days that this article says over here that we will see parabolic move to the upside, but only if the demand stays the same, or let's say starts surging to the upside. Circulation of the Bitcoin circulating supply is getting lower and lower, and then only then we can see parabolic move, which means in this case scenario this may take more than 2075 days than we had over here, because right now we have much more Bitcoins than we had over here. Now we're going to cover the link over here, because we did one trade and unfortunately we had gains on around approximately 15%, and unfortunately we didn't take them because we were expecting price to go much higher and we had some other goals, right? But that's okay because we had a loss only of 2%. Now what went wrong over here? I'm pretty sure that you want to hear what went wrong. So what we did over here, actually we're going to be very quick because the video is getting much longer. We entered somewhere approximately over here, which was perfectly good entry point, and the stop loss was, I think, somewhere here or something like that, let's say like that. And what the price did, actually retraced to the 20 exponential moving average, broke this support that we were making to the upside. Now link is in good downtrend. Now what concerns me over here on the link, not the daily chart, even so we are plunging below all simple moving averages, of course. The thing that is getting me worrying over here is the weekly chart. If we exclude this line over here, we can see that right now we are trading below 20 weekly exponential moving average, which is, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most important one. Now what I don't want to see over here on the link is closing below this line, or else we're going to see lower prices, like for example first $9 and then we can push down to the 8 and consolidating on that level sometime. So we will see in the next week when this, you know, candle closes above or below. We're going to see where the price may go. So right now we need to stay above this yellow line over here in order to see some movement to the upside. Also, if we switch to other moving averages, we can see that only 50 is made over here because we don't have enough history over here, and it's long below towards $6.3 per one link. So let's say that we need to wait and see next week on the Monday when the price closes to see where Chainlink may actually go. And now finally we have some trouble on the VeChain over here, VeChain USD weekly chart. The things that I'm seeing I do not like at all. As we can see over here, we do have this zone where the VeChain came back, you know, to retest and also to give people chance, to traders, to buy more so it could surge to the upside. But that never happened, ladies and gentlemen, because we were consolidating around this area over here and in this area for quite some time, or let's say 1 month already. And on the zoom out over here, you can see that we are dropping further below. We don't know when we can see, reversal, because we still don't see any signs of those reversals whatsoever. And the only encouraging thing that I can see over here on the VeChain is this zone that could hold us, this zone and above, that could hold us from dropping further down towards much lower prices. So for now, VeChain unfortunately is still dropping, and we are not seeing end of this bottom over here. From the top to this very moment over here, we dropped 63%, and we are still getting to the downside. Now, one thing that concerns me also a lot is the Fibonacci level over here. If we measure from the bottom to the top, we can see that we are actually today closing below 0.618, which is level of 0.009, or approximately 1 cent per the VeChain. If we close below this level, this could very much become our resistance, and this will not be good for the VeChain because it will be target for the lower prices. So make sure to observe the VeChain on those levels over here that we are now. If we draw this line over here, I can just delete this one so you can see better. So this is the thing that I'm expecting to see over here, some sort of a bounce from here and then breaking the rest of the moving averages. Now we're going to switch to the news, because we have some very interesting news when it comes to adoption to the Bitcoin, Binance hacks and stuff like that. So we're going to cover this very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to take a lot of time, so if you're interested into the news, just stick to us to the end. So switching to the first news over here, Russian Alpha Bank joins HSBC-backed blockchain trade finance network. I think we covered this on the TikTok or something, but as we can see, the Russia is getting ready to adopt the blockchain, and I told you that we are going to cover the Russians when it comes to the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin and the blockchain technology. So Evgenia Fomina, head of the Alpha Bank lending directorate, said that the contour-based pilot in the Russian market intend to improve the quality of cross-border transactions, stating the accession to the Contour platform and launch of the pilot projects on the Russian market will fine-tune the strategy of development of products for trans-border transactions. Customer requests become more complex, and we are always seeking to offer the best solutions. In some of the previous videos, we covered the Sberbank, which is adopting also cryptocurrency and the blockchain technology itself. And also, it seems like the Apollo currency that we're covering on this channel very much have a partner that is going to connect them with all central banks in Russia, or at least big part of them, that is going to use Apollo currency and Apollo blockchain technology to, implement in those banks and use Apollo currency as the paying fee for every single transaction. So that is going to be very interesting to follow. Over here, one interesting news: Bond King, who called Bitcoin a lie, now says BTC is a hedge against inflation. No, really. Jeffrey Gundlach argues that the Bitcoin and gold could serve to protect investors from a weakening dollar in the long term. We're definitely not going to go through the whole news. I'm just mentioning this news to tell you, as you can see, many bigger people, on the bigger picture are getting slowly on our side, on the Bitcoin side, because they can see how dollar is depreciating and how dollar is killing our wealth. Going to the next one, Grayscale Trust sees largest ever weekly inflow, nears 500,000 Bitcoins in total. Grayscale is on track to control 5% of the entire Bitcoin circulating supply by the end of 2021, with a record $2,015 million inflow last week. This is the one of the chart that we can see. This is 27th October over here, which is, pretty much last week, and this is the biggest inflow of the money into the Bitcoin from the Grayscale since previous weeks over here. And as we can see, some of them were very low, and the previous 3 or 4 or something were very good, and it seems like they don't want to stop it until the end of this 2020-21, where they could hold pretty much somewhere around 5%. Now, how this is correct, I'm not sure, because as you know, before the end of the 2021, we can see potentially parabolic move onto the Bitcoin price, and if they're going to have enough money to actually buy so much Bitcoins, then that's okay. But I'm not sure if they're going to invest so much money when the price starts doubling, tripling, or even go 5-6x's to the upside. We're going to see how this will develop as the stock to flow model and so those news that we read predicted already from the May of month, we could see $60,000 per one Bitcoin. Let's see how this will develop and if they really could achieve 5% of owning whole Bitcoin circulating supply. Now, unfortunately, over here we have some bad news. Telegram to pay $625K in fees after dropping Gram ticker lawsuit. This is nothing new over here. We all know how this end up with them and with the Libra. So unfortunately, they will need to shut down their project about Gram, and we're going to see if they're going to even start or think about starting something new in the next period of time. Switching to the next one, Binance takes credit for thwarting an attempted exit scam on its blockchain. The centralized part of CDFI did not seem to help though. Binance announced Wednesday the successful recovery of $344,000 in funds from the attempted exit scam of WineSwap, a projector on the Binance Smart Chain, BNB. WineSwap was an automated market maker platform similar to Uniswap that launches on October 13th. Within an hour of the launch, it had amassed $345,000 in funds, which were promptly pulled from the platform by the creator of WineSwap. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned in the previous videos, to be careful with the Uniswap tokens and what are you doing and buying on that exchange there, because it could be fatal for your funds. But fortunately, Binance managed to retrieve that money. As you can see over here, we're not going to go through the whole news, but you have this on Cointelegraph. I covered every single important news, let's say like that, and interesting news from the last video to now. So for now, you're all covered if you read or stayed all the way until the end of this video. I want to thank each last one of you for watching our videos. I hope you enjoyed, and until the next episode, happy trading and goodbye.